Welcome to another episode of the Your Company Health Podcast. I'm Andre Wright, your host, and today we have an exciting guest, Michael Foreman, an executive coach and growth strategist, and my friend. Hey, Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just great, Andre. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm great. I love this time of the year. It's my favorite. 70 odd degrees and not too just that's the right temperature, and I'm good. I'm good.
Yep. Not too hot, not too cold.
Yeah.
Spring and fall, the best two seasons.
No, definitely. And I'm an outdoor guy. I like golf and to go out there. So perfect time. Perfect time.
Right.
Get out.
Absolutely.
All right. To get things going for our audience, Michael, talk to us about your journey as an executive coach and a business growth strategist.
Well, my journey began 100 years ago when I was in the Air Force, and I went up through the ranks fairly quickly, and I soon realized that I would be telling the people that were older than I was what to do. And that always kind of put a something on me where I had to do it. I can order them to do it, but that's not the way that I usually run. So after the Air Force, I had my own companies. I had a graphic design studio, pizzerias, restaurants. I had it all. Then I kind of sold off that and went into corporate. And I was in a mortgage business. I moved down to Georgia and I went to a law practice. But one thing always stuck out. I always was the face of the company. I always did one-on-one, or I did the presentations, or I was telling somebody else what is going on. It was always me. So I decided about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm going to do this for myself. So I know how to talk to people, but I didn't know the business behind speaking. So I went to school for that. And I went to school and I graduated and everything and pushed, but here like 5 years later, I'm represented by certain agencies, who's who in speaking. I won a communication award. I have articles written about me, and all it is me trying to help help professionals turn their conversations into clients.
Mhm.
And that goes with your health care and everything else. Because listen, doctors are great, but when they get them out in front of somebody else, having them explain to somebody what they have to do is a whole nother subject.
I agree. I agree. And I always say like the best coach is the one that understands business and has been through the trenches. And just to hear you explain your extensive background in terms of being involved in different businesses, I think that makes you gives you that experience so that you can help these business owners or help these practices because oftentimes, I've seen it, all over the place. You have, people are saying they're coaching this, coaching that, coaching. And when you look at their background, look at their history, they've never owned a business. They've never run a business, you know?
Right.
So,
And one thing that I can bring to the table is, especially in the restaurant business, I had employees, I had customers, and I had vendors. And I had to talk to all three, tell them the same thing, but in three different ways.
right, right. Awesome, awesome. So, with that experience and that knowledge of business, I want you, if those people that are listening, those practitioners or whatever type of business owners, in 2026 today, if you could give a business advice to these business owners right now to grow their business, what would you say?
Very simple. That's an easy question, Andre, right? My first thing is to listen, right? Because when somebody goes up and talks with somebody, the first thing they want to do is have diarrhea of the mouth, tell them everything that they know, everything that they can help them with, everything. But that's the wrong attitude to take. You listen to the other person. I call it active listening because what you have to do is listen because you are a problem solver. You're going to solve one of their problems, but you're not going to meet them at that problem. You're going to meet them a little bit further ahead so that you can solve their problem and then help them along with their journey. So if they listen, that's the only way they can understand the other person's problem. And you when you listen to them, you don't start thinking about the next thing that you want to say. You want to have answers to what they're saying. So you're listening and then you're pausing. And that pause is so important because it shows the other person you're listening. And you say some of what they said to you back. Say, if I understand you correctly, your problem is XYZ, and I can help you with that.
Right, right. And that not only goes for individuals, but also for businesses. So oftentimes, as you know, I'm in the digital growth space, and oftentimes it's not the say the largest business would grow the fastest, but we've seen the businesses that understands and the businesses that understand and listen to the customers, as you mentioned, understand their pain, and then as devise a plan to solve those pains. Those are the businesses that grow. Not because you're big or you're fancy or what, but the businesses that listen and understands the pain. We've oftentimes seen those are the businesses that will take on. So that goes into what you're saying about communication and the importance of understanding, what the other person is saying, to carry on the conversation.
Absolutely. And you really can't focus on anything until you understand. And that by understanding, you're listening. And and listen, whether you're a solopreneur, I hate that term, by the way,
Yeah, I don't like it
solopreneur,
either.
whether you're an entrepreneur for a one person or a 50-person business, right? It drills down to the same problem. If you have salespeople, you have to teach the salespeople what to do. Everybody knows the sales cycle. Everybody knows what it is that they're selling, but they don't know how to sell it, how to bring it to somebody else, have them understand what you have that they truly need it.
No,
And
definitely.
that's where I come in.
Perfect example is for instance, like me being on LinkedIn, I would get all these pitches in my inbox, selling me things I don't need.
Right.
Because, some of these companies they just, shooting their shot and they don't know what they're just sending out to everyone. But I may not be their target market. But if the salesperson I will listen to, if that person goes through my profile, understand what I'm doing, and identify pains and understand how I can move to the next level and what can help me to grow, then I will listen to that person.
Right. It's especially with LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I feel, is strictly business. And if you want to connect with somebody, don't just come out there and sell, right? That's the worst thing in the world. How would you like it in a networking event? A guy walks up to you, here's my business card. This is what I can do. Give me your stuff. I'll get with you later and don't worry about it. You're like, whoa, you have to bring some value to that connection. So let's say that I connected with you on LinkedIn and I know what you do. And I found some articles about medical facilities or how AI can be introduced. I would offer them to you. Say, look, Andre, I came across these articles. I thought of you. Maybe you'd be interested. Do that three, four, five times, build up that value, and then say, you know what, Andre, I've been sending you a bunch of articles. I think we should have a cup of coffee
No,
and
definitely.
start that way.
Of course, that's always the best way in. You touch on AI and that's the big talk. That's the big talk all over the place, I want to ask you, with the advent of AI and these new LLMs, these new platforms, from your standpoint, talking to business owners, a cross section of different business owners, how are you seeing it changing businesses? And if you can talk about it from the healthcare side of things, But I mean, overall, you can talk about it on business overall. How are you seeing it changing business today, and what business owners should look out for?
Well, it's funny because some people look at AI and go, oh my gosh, it's AI, and I don't know anything about it. And other people think they know so much about it and they don't know a lot about it. So it really depends on what you want to use AI for. I use it for branding, right? I want to get my name out there. A doctor could use it for the same thing. It won't say about his practice, but it'll say talk about himself as a whole, right? So if his name gets out there, somebody in another conversation will say, "Oh wait, I've heard of him. Where did I hear of him?" And so if your name goes out enough, then people begin to recognize you. And that's just the beginning. When you, especially in Atlanta, when you drive down a highway, you see these billboards with attorneys, injury attorneys. All you see is the face and the name, no contact information. What are they doing? That's branding.
It is.
You
It is.
get just getting to know them. Well, doctors can do the very same thing. And then they can move to if they have a procedure that is, well, so that they can use, but nobody else has,
Mhm.
right? They can begin to brand that procedure and say, oh, you know what? I don't know of it, but I know this doctor does it. And that's how you slowly but surely use AI because you can listen, a lot of companies use it for note taking, for simplifying their notes or long documents or reading documents and taking out the important things. So you can use AI for so many different things. But the thing is, you have to know what you're talking about. And listen, my suggestion is to get help. Don't do it on your own. Listen, Andre, you're especially AI with the healthcare. My suggestion, use Andre because he knows what he's talking about, right? You need to have somebody with that wealth of knowledge to at least get you going, right? Once you get going, you say, okay, I don't need this so much, but I need more of that.
Right.
And you just go on that way. Don't just jump in both feet and say, I'm drowning. You have to start small and work it.
Great point. Great point. And that's what we have been seeing, auditing accounts and all that. Um, some people they're jumping into AI and they don't have the proper structure to accommodate AI. So it's like you're gonna use systems compounding on a bad foundation. You don't have the proper systems to accommodate AI. So as you mentioned, you have to know what you're using it for. It could be, for your, as you mentioned, the note taking. It could be the focus is branding, or it could just be automation in your front desk and to communicate with customers. So there are different ways that you can do it. But as to your point, it's here, and even in my space, in the past, it was all about clicks, all about clicks and showing up
Right.
on the first page. But it's more about a trust now, and it's not just traffic anymore. It's about authority, as you mentioned. Who is the person that you can trust? Who is you mentioned about the billboard. I see this guy all over the place. So there must be something about it. I'm gonna look at his page. I'm gonna, look at the reviews. So the key thing now with AI is how can you, as a doctor, a business owner, stand out and be the face of that industry.
You hit on a networking mantra, trust, right? People have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. If they don't trust you, throw it out because you'll never do business with them. So I want you to think of a building, right? You have this beautiful structure, but it's built on straw. That's a bad foundation. So you're building this magnificent thing, but you don't know what you're basing it all on. or would you rather have a steel base with a straw hut? Right? You don't know what you're doing yet, but you have a great foundation. You can always build onto the strong foundation, right? You can't build onto that straw foundation. So it is what you make of it, but the relationship you have with the people. So if you bring in an authority, and I mean authority because they have to prove their credentials, whether you bring in somebody like you or like me or whomever it is, whatever it is, right? Build, see what their credentials, see what type of a person they are, because they can have the best credentials in the world, but if you don't like the person, you won't do business with them.
No, and that's spot on. That's spot on. And it compounds even more in the healthcare space because you wouldn't want someone to do a surgery on you that you don't know, right? You don't know. You may take a risk in getting someone to fix your roof, right? And say, oh, we're just gonna fix my roof or fix my plumbing issue. But when it comes to healthcare, it even more important to be trustworthy. If I'm looking for a dentist or chiropractor, I'm gonna go on their page. I'm gonna look at their reviews. I'm gonna look at their background. What's the success story? What other people are saying about this doctor. And so that's why in this age you have to work on your reputation management and put those you want great reviews. You want raving fans. That's the term. You want raving fans for your practice, and that will definitely take it to the next level.
Here's a book, and what's the name of the book? Raving Fans,
Yes,
right? It's
heard
written
about
by
it.
Kent Blanchard. Now it's out of print. I used to buy these by 50 at a time and hand it out with my business card to realtors when I was in the mortgage business. I would hand that book and my business card to them and say, "Here, read this. When you finish it, you'll have the basis of all uh, of customer service." And I said, it'll take you 45 minutes. Just read it. But it is such a good book. That and 1 Minute Manager, also by Ken Blanchard.
Mhm.
And if you read these books, it's so simple. You're like, well, of course I know that, but you don't know it because you don't practice it. How many people know what they have to do, but when they come down to doing it, they don't do it?
No, you're completely right. And again, in my space, in the healthcare space, doctors, they're great people, right? They've gone to, they've gone through school for years and they're good at what they do. But when it comes to the business side of things, they're on, they want to shy away from that. They don't want to do a video. They don't want to put their face out there. So even you as an expert in coaching and even what we have to push for our clients that you have to be the face of the business. People want to see you. People want to know their doctor. People want to even a video here or there on Facebook, post on LinkedIn. You don't have to always be in the background because the trust signals are heightened in 2026 in this AI era.
Yeah, and you say I think a lot of the doctors that you're talking about are introverts and they don't want to put themselves out there like, no, 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 I'll do anything else, but I don't want to talk to everybody. And that's half of my business is having the introverts stepping up and actually doing some of these things. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it's definitely possible and definitely for you to take your business to the next level. And if you really want to do that, but we're afraid to do it, talk to Andre, talk to myself, because we can help you do that.
Perfect, perfect. And Michael, I can't believe the time is running. I mean, we're going so fast. We could go for another an hour or so, but to wrap up and close down here. I know you have a wide range of clients, but what I want you to talk to our audience about. What are your tracking mechanism? What are your key KPIs of when you're dealing with these small businesses? or clients?
Well, my KPIs are very simple. It's nothing that I put onto a spreadsheet or anything else like that. I have a slew of emails from CEOs, from the president of the companies. I do workshops. I go in and I train the salespeople, the back office people, the warehouse people, customer service people on how to relate to the public. I go into doctors' offices and it's a smaller group, like 5 or 6 people, but I show them the correct way to talk to people. My KPI is the emails that I've received from them and saying, Mike, listen, I'm not adding any one of my new clients to this email. I did this strictly with my old clients. In the last 4 months, we raised our ROI by $25,000.
Hmm.
I got another one from this is from a CEO from a roofing company in Ohio, and he said, "Mike, I got to tell you, we did your we were structured the way that you told us to be structured. Our customer service, our warehouse people, and we increased our ROI by $50,000 in 6 months." So that's what I use as a KPI.
Awesome, awesome, and spot on. Oftentimes with coaching, some people will see coaching as a luxury. Talk to our audience of why is important today to have a coach.
Well, you know what? Everybody thinks they can do it on their own. And you know what? They probably could. Bad for my business, of course, but it would take you 6 months, 8 months by coaching. By you it's a mindset. You have to change your mindset, because if you're in a rut, if you can only have your business at x amount of thousands of dollars per year, you need a coach to help you expand that. And when I coach the owner of the company, he usually has me coach everybody else, because they see the value in changing their mindset and going out and say, look, you you know your sales cycle, right? You know how to go out and sell. Let Michael help you and show you, and you'll go out, and all of a sudden you'll realize that in a month, I say this, that within a month, you'll increase your ROI within 30 days. And they're like, no, trust me,
Yeah.
this 99.9% of the time. And it's not a luxury anymore. It's mandatory, because today's day and age, everybody's using AI. Everybody's going to cut corners somewhere. You need that edge, and using a coach is your edge.
I totally agree. And I always tell people, why do you think a professional athlete need a coach then? Why do you think these guys need coaches? You know, they have all the money in the world, but why coaches are important? Because they prevent you from encountering the problems, right? They guide you in the right direction. So we all need coaches.
You're laser focused,
Hmm.
right? Your coach is laser focused on your problem. Now, you can't just say, well, my business is the problem, right? You have to, there must be something within your business that you need to expand on. That's where your coach is laser focused. And that's what you're bringing in to now, because I have clients that I put through a 3 month program. I still have a year later, because they want to talk with me at least once a month to see
Hmm.
where they are going and where they came from.
Agreed, agreed. Hey, Michael. I want to tell you, man, you're spot on. You're spot on, and I'm a strong believer of coaching. You know, if you're a practice owner listening, I mean, you don't have a coach, reach out to Michael. But Michael, the last question I want to ask you, from your standpoint as a coach, and from your experience from seeing different things, what one thing you say they should invest in right now?
It's different whether you're a solo person, an entrepreneur that you're by yourself, or you have like five salespeople, right? It's a little different, but either way, it's the same information. Have your one person, either yourself, your salespeople, or whatever, network. Go out and find a network. Now, I belong to the Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
That's a standard meeting. I have a separate networking meeting every Thursday night. So that's two networking meetings every week that I go to. And then I pick a third, right? So I always am out there networking, spreading. Because listen, the first time you go out, there's no doubt about it, you're going to suck. It's going to be horrible. But that means that the second time, you'll be that much better. And
Right,
the third time, you'll be a little bit better. And by the fourth or fifth time, you say, hey, this isn't so bad. I can do this all day long. But
right.
actually, when you network, you get the word out, you get your product out. And here's the funny thing, you never know who you're going to run into. You never know who you're going to talk to. Now, I'm not just talking to Andre, I'm talking to Andre's network,
Yes.
right? So it's not just a one person, it's their network of people. And then somebody in his network may know somebody else. So you don't know. But the only way to do it is to start, to go out and to network.
Awesome, awesome. And a mentor once told me that as a business owner, you need to be doing three type of networks. Should be an open one, there should be a closed one, and there should be one specific to your niche.
Absolutely. And he is so right, so spot on. And my networking group that meets on nighttime Thursdays, that's an open networking, right? I kept that open. The Chamber of Commerce, that's open. But if you want to join like a BNI or something, that's your closed group.
Closed. Mhm.
My coaching is better off in an open group rather than a closed group, but there's something to be said about that closed group.
Definitely, definitely. All right, Michael. Man, love this conversation. We, as I mentioned, we could go on and on. You're so, experienced in the space and what you do and helping business. I want you to tell our audience before we go, how can they find you?
I'm real easy. michaelaforman.com. Right on there is my website. I've been on over 125 podcasts. I'm a podcast host. I have 250 podcasts under my belt. But on my website is two very important things. One, 8 digital courses that you can look up and just have a good time. But there's also an information block. If you want to get hold of me, fill out the information. I'll get back to you within 24 hours, and I would love to start a conversation.
All right, Michael Foreman. Thank you so much, sir. It has been a pleasure. And until next time, we'll talk.